So here's what I mean by Facebook ads being on easy mode in 2025. This is recent data from a brand in our program who we are supporting. And as you can see, at the beginning of March, they were spending about $150 a day. And since then, we've been able to go up together to spending in the twos. And more importantly, we've been able to hit a peak day of 11.5K, while all these other days have been pretty sweet along the way. So let me show you the mechanics of what drove this. This is it. It's 2 campaigns, and there is a little bit of redundancy where we could probably get away with just this one campaign over here, but this is it. It's basically one campaign driving the majority of the volume. And within this campaign over here, there are a handful of ad sets, all with very similar settings. And then we have some ads inside of them. And that's it. The person running the ads for this brand is actually not a full-time ads person or a full-time media buyer. They got plenty of other things to do in the business. And so the way the scale happened from February, where things were spending in the hundreds of dollars to $200 or so per day, and doing about 10K, close to 11K in monthly sales in Feb, we were able to support them in almost 6xing the platform attributed sales without having to be really complicated and without having to have anyone on the team spend their full time doing it. Let me show you another example. So this is a brand right now that's outside of peak season and is kind of on vacation for the winter. And in their ad account, basically nothing has been done since February the 4th or something like that, where the last thing that was done was loading up a batch of ads. And so in January, they did 17K, which backs out to about $540 per day over a 31-day period. In February, they did 19.7K, which backs out to about $700 per day. And in March, so far, 19 days in, they're at 22K, which is about $1,100 per day. So if you compare and you look at that month over month difference, right? From 540 to 700 to 1,100, it's about a doubling. Again, all without doing anything in the ad account, aside from one thing, which is turning back on ads that have got turned off by automated rules that were set up. Aside from that, there's been virtually zero activity inside of the ad account. And you can see that right over here, where we have all active campaigns selected over here and sorted by date created at the ad level. You can see last time ads were loaded in was February the 12th. So very minimal activity. And so I share this all. And so I share these examples with you to express that there is a harder way to run ads and there's an easier way to run ads. And the analogy that I like to think about is the old way, AKA the hard way, is kind of like starting a fire from scratch every time you need some heat and it's cold in the winter. And the current way / the easy way is to just use your thermostat, because we have access to that kind of technology these days. And if you choose to do it the old way and do things a little bit harder, we just have to remember that it is a choice. So what does the old way look like? And by old, I don't mean 10 years ago. I mean tactics that we've been doing up until last year. And by we, I mean as a collective of those who use ads. So the first thing it looks like is micromanaging budgets being really sensitive to how much we increase or decrease by, and almost being superstitious about it. Here's an example that I got from someone who's on our newsletter and asked about not scaling ad budget more than 20% in a day, which I used to constrain myself around quite a bit and would sweat every little change that I made in the ad account. Number two on the hard way is micromanaging targeting. I'd say 60% of people who I come across no longer do this and mostly simplify their targeting now. But there still is a pocket of people who still get a little obsessive and controlling around targeting. And the last one is monitoring performance like a hawk, which I am very guilty of doing for many years. I have spent way too much time sitting in Ads Manager on weekends away from my wife before we had our son, micromanaging ad sets and campaigns throughout the day for hours at a time, thinking I was being productive when really I think I was probably being both counterproductive to the way the machine learning works and also losing out on time that could have been better spent elsewhere on things that actually move the needle. And the great thing about this year in particular in 2025 is Facebook and Meta, they've given us a technology that's freely available. If you're advertising on their platform, it's no extra cost to us to make things way more simple and way more hands-off. So this stuff is the hard way. And on the other side of that, we have the current way, which is easier. And what does that look like? That looks like setting efficiency targets. It looks like setting inflated budgets. And the last step is just reviewing data and making new ads based on that data. So let me unpack what each of these three more minimalist, simpler, easier steps actually mean. So number one, with setting efficiency targets. What does that mean? This is best explained by looking at our numbers from a simplified accounting perspective. So let's say we do a revenue of $100. We'll say cost of goods on that is 35, inclusive of your fulfillment fees, pick, pack, ship, and transactions. We'll say your OpEx on that, if healthy, is $10 averaged out. And your contribution margin target on that is, let's say, $20. So if these are how the numbers break down from the revenue we collect, what we have left for ads and marketing is $35, which means my efficiency target, assuming I want to be first order profitable with this $20 in contribution margin, backs out to a $35 CPA target or a CAC target, or a 2.86 ROAS. And that's it, right? And we can repeat this for the different campaigns or ad sets that we create, so that are respective to the margin profiles and the unit economics of the different products you're advertising, and then give those to Facebook in order to use as targets for you so that it enters into auctions for you if it forecasts being able to hit these targets. Which is why when we onboard new people into our program, the very first thing we do is we review their unit economics so we are super clear on the efficiency targets. Because a lot of times there's two situations that things fall into. The first one is either people aren't spending enough because they're too efficient and leaving profit volume on the table. Or the second problem is that they're losing money, but they don't really know it, especially when people average out their COGS and average order value numbers. Going back to step two, we have setting inflated budgets over here. So what does that mean? To me, it's easiest to explain with an example. And so this campaign, or rather the ad, because we are on the ad level, this specific single ad, this one ad, is in a campaign that is set at $1,000 a day, which when you compare it to the amount of spend that has happened so far this month is inflated, because the highest spending day on a quick glance is $348. But the reason why we use inflated budgets together with the efficiency targets is because of observations like this, where the day before that spend of 348, we had a day of 81 bucks being spent, 57, 20, right? And then you look at other days. On these 2 days, the 8th and the 9th, you can see spending in 300s drops off to 70, pumps back up to 100. And then actually, I was wrong earlier. The biggest day was actually over here at 700. And so we set inflated budgets for two big reasons. Number one is, just like any dynamic marketplace, Facebook has a varying number of daily active users that fluctuates. And the second reason is because if you don't set your budgets high enough, there's a chance that your spend can get throttled with Facebook's pacing mechanism, keeping you out of auctions that you could have entered. And then one more reason beyond those two is also because we have less information than the platform. There's no way that I can decide that on the 7th of March that I'm going to keep budget at $80 and then for some reason decide the next day I'm going to bump it up to $350. That's just not a decision that I would have made. And same with over here. Between the 13th and the 15th, I wouldn't have the foresight to know that on the 13th, we would spend 63 at a bad efficiency. And then on the 14th and 15th, we would bump the budgets up to doubling, more than doubling each day. I just don't have the information for that. And just zooming out here, like these numbers are good overall, right? Over the entire month, we are sitting at, let me just zoom up a bit for you, 3,200 spend on this single ad, 83 back, all on 7-day click, no view attribution, and at a profitable number of 2.59. These are just decisions that I don't feel confident making because the platform that we're giving money to has more data than me. So when it comes to setting inflated budgets, I just set them high enough so that most days we're not actually hitting it. And we're controlling volume of spend through the efficiency target as opposed to through the spend number that we're giving Facebook. And the third thing we do, the third pillar or step of the easier process to go about your ads, or at least the way that we go about it, is reviewing the data and then making new ads based off that data, which to me really is the only thing we have control over. And lucky for us in 2025, it's actually the thing that makes the most impact when it comes to a human to human perspective. Because at the end of the day, we are advertising to other humans who are putting in their credit cards to transact on our websites. So unpacking this, what does it look like? We have a video that we posted about a week and a half ago that outlines the exact process we take for leveraging whatever is doing well in your account and scaling it out through these frameworks of our minimalist scaling flywheel and then our net new process so that you're covering the best of both worlds of iterative scaling and also net new, more exploratory scaling. So you can check those out after this if you'd like. And to help with that even more, we actually have an AI agent that we've built that helps with coming up with ideas for you, where you can feed in winning ads from your account and it can help you with coming up with concepts or taking inspiration ads and breaking it down and giving you ideas. And as a third bonus, we have another agent, again, all on YouTube, that shows you our build of an agent that does ad loading for you, which is another part of what used to be hard and time consuming, but is no longer a hindrance and is what makes Facebook ads easier, because you no longer have to spend hours at a time loading ads into your account. And that's mostly it. Again, going back to the comparison between starting a fire from scratch every single time you need some heat when it gets cold at night in the winter and using your thermostat, it comes down to a choice. You can do it the hard way if you want, and you can do it the easier way if you want. The great thing about Facebook ads in 2025 is the optionality to have it be easier if we want it to be. And I want to make a distinction that I'm not saying building a brand is easier or easy, period. I'm saying the Facebook ads process can be easier. Building a brand still has hard stuff, like figuring out ways to get repeat orders and managing your purchase orders and launching new products and nurturing team members and a bunch of other stuff that just isn't pushing buttons in Facebook. And the thing I want to stress is that Facebook is still a great place for new customer acquisition for most brands, even in 2025. Your addressable market is probably there, and most of that market probably hasn't heard of you yet, which is not a bad thing. It means that there's a lot of opportunity. And just because other platforms exist, like Google and TikTok and Snapchat ads and native, it doesn't mean hopping to those platforms automatically means that you're going to be profitable there. Each of those have their own complexities and aren't a magic pill. So the perspective that I like to take is just let Facebook be easy for you, or at least as easy as possible when it comes to the choices you make in your process on there. And then you can handle the other parts of your business that are actually hard. So I have 2 call to actions today, which is if you're not on Facebook or you're worried that it's dead, don't worry, because it's not. It's still a great place to go even this year to get meaningful scale. That takes a long time to tap out and a lot of volume. And the second call to action is that if Facebook has been on hard mode for you, you can try making it easier by setting up some constraints around your process and making it a little bit more minimalist, like what we have over here. This is basically our process. Set our efficiency target, inflate budgets, use broad targeting, load up ads, review ads, review performance, and that's it. So there's 2 links in the description below. One to join the newsletter, where I send stuff like this every day, and another one where you can reach out to us to work directly on your business. And we don't want to run your ads, so we don't have a dog in this fight to make it more complicated for you. We want to work on your business, the numbers, the strategy, the KPI, the ad ideas, the agents. That's the stuff that's fun for us, not sitting in Facebook doing stuff in there. It's a plain minimalist Google form that you can fill out, and I'll reach out if I feel like we're a good fit and feel like we can help you. And there's no sales call to jump on because we do everything through email to decide if we want to work together. And that's it for this one. I will see you in the next one.